Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on May 5th, 2022 at approximately 6:22 a.m. PST. Well, we talked about a couple of days ago, I started talking about an interesting situation. Okay, one of the books I'm working on. This is literally a grounding point for it, if you will. Now, a couple of days ago, I talked about the idea of drawing success to yourself. Okay, and this is where we're at now. Is I've got a plan in mind for the next several weeks to cover literally that sort of thing. But I'm doing it in a simple fashion. I'll be dealing with the home, the feeling of the place you live. Okay, on odd days, on even days, I will be dealing with the house, as in the material building in which you live and how to operate that. Combined on that, okay, and I only just literally made this connection this morning because, like you, I listen to my spiritual guides. Okay, now I call myself a spiritual guide simply because the tools that I offer are the same ones I personally use. These are the ones that have brought me from being bankrupt twice. Both stupid moves, by the way, guided by so-called professionals. Okay, from living from one paycheck to the next, worrying 1 month to the next, worrying about whether I was going to have a roof over my head. Okay, it led me from a place, the philosophies in life that I live by, that I talk about, are the exact same ones I personally live by. These are the ones that brought me from extreme depression, where I wouldn't talk to anybody, to be into talking on a YouTube channel, and finally coming to peace with me. The one thing I never thought I would find was peace of mind. I now have found that peace of mind, and the philosophies in life that I share with you are the same ones that I personally live by. Okay, with this in mind, this does not mean that I am the best of the best. It doesn't mean I'm perfect. As a matter of fact, I'm far from it. If I were perfect, I wouldn't be here. But with this in mind, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. It would be appreciated. Apparently, it has something to do with the YouTube platform. Okay. Now, I came back to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to let people know that working together, we can make this a better world for everybody, for virtually everybody. Now, I came back to this life for that purpose as a primary point. I've got a lot of other little goals I've set for myself, absolutely. But that one in particular is the one I returned for. Now, I've been here multiple lifetimes in the past, and yes, I do remember many of my lifetimes. I'm in the process of documenting more of them. But to date, I think I've got either 18 or 20 that are documented, if you believe in past lives. If you don't, that's okay, that's your right. I'm not here to convince you of anything to speak of, only to turn on the light. Okay, and it's kind of comical that I should actually take to this little ornament up here on the top shelf. That blue thing, that's a lighthouse. Now, if you're standing in a dark room, okay, if you're in an absolutely pitch black room and you can't hear anything, you can't see anything, if somebody turns on a light, and I'm talking just a little flame, okay, it will immediately draw people's attention around them. Okay, and what's going to end up happening is it will draw people to you. That's just the way it is. It's very much like with people that do what seems to be called waking up. Okay, you start to remember your connection to the upper realms. Now, on the other side of the veil, when you take somebody that is just starting to wake up, starting to realize there's more to this life than humans, when you start realizing that, it's like a little flame in a pitch black area coming to life. And it will draw the attention of the other spirits, which is why when you first start when you first start delving into this field, you may feel overwhelmed because all of a sudden you've got everybody starting to come to you with questions. It's like, oh, wait a minute, you can see us. You're there. You're a connection. So now I'm going to come to you and ask questions. Okay. Now I stayed away from the world for a lot of reasons. Okay. One of the biggest reasons is I could not figure out how to fit in. It wasn't until a few months ago that I finally figured out how to fit in. And that is by not bothering to fit in, but to come to terms with who I am. And that's what this is all about. That's what this whole journey really is. It started off, that came out well. It started off in one path, but it has evolved to where it really was supposed to be. Okay. So in case you're striving to make a change in your life, and you happen to be one of my subscribers, which by the way I'm quite happy to say is starting to take off. Okay, I'm just looking at something here. Right now I have 246 subscribers. Now, you people are going to understand this more readily than some. But then I've talked to you for a fair piece of time. So here's the way the plan goes. Right now, I will be talking on the odd days of the month. I will be focusing on the home. Okay, the feeling of the place in which you're living. This will undoubtedly include things like family interaction, friendship interaction, the feel of your life. On the even days, I'll be focusing on the house, as in your material world, how to organize the physical world around you, how to look at your finances in perhaps a different way than you have been. But these are the tools that have got me on my feet. Now, effective on, let me just double check the date here. By the way, this is a live recording, which means when I get done, I double check the date, and then I turn around and post it as is. I do not edit any of it. Okay. So on the even days, I'm going to be taking a look at the actual operation of your house. Now, that house, by the way, in both of these cases, the home also includes the feeling of your workspace. If you run your own business, if you own your own business, okay, then the home will talk about the feel of that business as well. And rest assured, everybody owns a business because every one of you has a life of your own. Okay. And what I mean by that is if you're running a house, if you're a homemaker, and you're running a house, you have to pay attention to utilities. You have to pay attention to food. You've got to pay attention to your rent and your mortgage. Okay, and any credit cards, any lines of credit, you've got to pay attention to. So does a business. Okay, you have to pay attention to these things. And so we can eliminate that separation, let's assume you quote unquote, own your business. Or your house, rather. Okay, or for that matter, you own you own the building that you've got your business in. To be blunt, if you are paying land taxes, never mind a mortgage payment. If you're paying a mortgage payment, you're paying rent. This is pretty obvious. You're renting from the bank. If you've got a lease and you're paying a lease payment, you're renting that vehicle from the finance company. If you're paying land taxes, even if your name is on the deed, it doesn't matter. If you're paying land taxes, you're renting from the government. So let's get over the idea that if you're a homeowner, you're any better off than somebody that's renting. I made the mistake of putting my people that I knew on a pedestal because they seem to have their heads on straight a little better. But here's the thing. Most people that quote unquote own a major car or a major vehicle, a major vehicle of some form, be it a car, a boat, a plane, it doesn't matter. most of you, okay, are still making payments on it. If it is owned outright, now granted, if you take a vehicle and you own it outright, you're not making any more payments on it. Yeah, you still got to pay your insurance, but that's not ownership paper. Okay, you do own those. However, where it comes to property, if you're still paying land taxes, you don't own that. Okay, that is something you're renting from whoever. Okay, and you may have 100-year lease on it. I don't know. What I do know is that you're still paying for it, which means you don't own it. Okay. So, what am I going to be focusing on Mondays from here on out? Okay. I had to pick a day. I'm still getting things organized and breaking things down into a more organized fashion. But starting on Monday, I think it's the 9th. Whoop. Are we still? Yeah, we're still recording. Good. Well, I didn't want that. Let's try this. Calendar. Yeah. On Monday, May 9th. Okay. I will be dealing with unity, and that's the primary purpose. That is the primary topic I'm going to be working with. We're going to work together. We're going to point out, we're going to show you a different way of looking at the world where we can actually understand and I'm not perfect, and, we've got to be clear on that. But starting on Monday, I'm going to be focusing on literally the unity factor. Why it is that we are all one basic unit. Okay, we've all got so much in common. It's time to start focusing on the idea of what we have in common. Another discrepancy, and I mentioned this yesterday. Okay, now I run my own consulting business. I've been doing it for years. To be specific, at approximately 5 minutes to noon on August 15th of 2007, I opened Inner Voice Enterprises. Now, I've been bringing my prices up as I go along. And as you know, inflation is getting way out of hand. So I've done the exact opposite thing that most people are doing with their businesses. And it may be just what you require. I'm hoping this starts a trend, but I'm not holding my breath. What I did up until, well, literally the end of April, for an hour's consulting, I was charging $180 a day an hour. Okay, this is what I've been charging for years. Okay, probably close to 5 years now that I've been charging that. Only I did the unthinkable thing for most businesses, it seems. Prices are going up and up and up, and what am I doing? Okay, well, I was charging 180 effective May 1st of this year. In other words, 4 days ago. Okay, I took that bill and I went, nope, not doing that anymore, and I cut my prices. I was sitting at 180. I have now cut my price to $90 an hour. Now, this is still a decent wage, but it now opens that door to people that have some of the money and have a complication that they require. Because I've dealt with things for my entire life. It became public knowledge when I was 10 that I could do this. Okay, when I was 23, I started charging. Okay, I started generating an income. Here I am, about to be 59 years old, and what am I doing? I finally got the message. Talk about a slow learner. Hopefully you'll get this one. Okay. And I'm not the one to tell you whether or not how you want to go about this, but I will tell you it's been proven in multiple businesses, grocery stores and car dealerships are just two of the ones that are obvious. Okay. And restaurants do this all the time. Okay, where you take a look at the way you're running your business and you turn around and you shear the price. Now let's just make sure I hit that. Yeah, it's still recording. What I've done is take that regular price and cut it and shear it. Now, I'm not suggesting you cut your prices in half. Okay, I'm certainly not suggesting that. We still have this problem of bills have to be paid, and if you have an employee, they have bills that have to be paid as well. But we keep raising prices, and we're going to have troubles. Okay, you're going to find this yourself. Even the people that have a staggering amount of money are going to find a problem with it. Okay, you may not see it at this point, but it boils down to the feeling. Now, I have made no bones about it. Okay, and people will look at me and go, how can you talk to people and try to guide them and still claim to be what you are? Well, I'll tell you, the way you do that is you be honest. Take a look at the dictionary. Okay, you take a look at the dictionary and my outlook on life, and it's a conflicted outlook, to be sure. But you look at dictionary definitions that I found on the internet. Okay, and I literally fit into the category of being a misanthropic philanthropist. Meaning, I don't have a lot of tolerance I don't have a lot of patience for what I call true stupidity. I don't have any way of separating one person from the next, whether you're a multimillionaire or a pauper, whether you believe in Allah, you believe in Christ, you believe that you're black, you believe that you're white, it doesn't matter to me. You're all equally valuable. Which is why I've got to find a place to hang this. But this is why this funny little sign sits here. Okay, because those 4 words are the most powerful words in any language that I've come across regarding building self-esteem, self-worth, self-motivation, self-accomplishment. All of these things are really amplified by those 4 words. I am worth it. Now, it is way past time that we look at the feeling of what's going on. The words you utter may not be, they may not, you may think of them as just simply words, but words carry impact. Okay. And when we're looking at the home, okay, to be clear, the home has, now I'm sitting in the brain of the home, okay, in my office, where I work on my finances, where I work on my thought processes as how to organize the journey. That is done in this room, okay. My computer is all set up here. Okay, it's a corner desk, and it's all set up here. My painting, my creative side, the creative painting that I do, is all done over on another desk over here. Okay. And of course, this neat little thing in the way. You can't see much. Okay. But this is all my creative side being worked on over here, except my writing, which gets done here. And since I'm sitting out there. I'm not going to pick it up right now, but let's see if you can see. Oh, you can only just barely see it. I don't think that you can see that very well. Trying to see if it actually shows up. Yeah, you can see just a little bit of a wave at the bottom there. Okay, right at the bottom of the screen. Those are the pages of the hard copy of my writing. Okay, so that's the brain of the home. That's where all that gets dealt with. I've cleared out the floor, okay, in order to be able to maneuver. Right. And then, of course, I've got my printer over here. But that's the brain. The heart of your home, and this is where the clutter's got to go away. You'll see that I'm getting rid of a lot of the clutter in my office. The heart of the home is a 3-chamber heart. Your living room, dining room, and kitchen. Okay, you get those straightened out, you get the clutter out of them, and your house will feel your home will feel more secure, more vibrant. You'll also find by clearing the clutter out of the way, it's kind of like clearing the arteries. Now, the arteries in your home are your hallways. Okay. The easiest way to tell if you've removed all the clutter from your hallways is if you can run a vacuum cleaner along the floor without having to worry about moving stuff to run it. Your arteries are clear. And that's the easiest place to start. Okay. Your recovery room, your recovery part of your home, your sleep pattern, if you will, is usually in the bedroom. Okay. When you're looking at the disposal side of on how to get rid of the junk in your home. Okay. The real garbage. Well, frankly, that's what we have. The bowels of the bowels of your home are quite seriously the laundry room and the bathroom. And guess why I call those the bowels? Now, the junk goes out through the front door. Now, here's the funny thing about the junk. Now, this sign that I just mentioned, that I just showed you, I am worth it. If you don't already have that sign up, do so today. I've got that sitting in my office, in my brain, where I can see it easily. Granted, it's a little twisted because it's on its side right now, but I read sideways. I've got that sign in my office. I've got a laminated one on cardstock in my kitchen, hanging on my fridge, and I've got a third one on my front door. So when you get to the front door of my apartment, some people hang a wreath out there, or they'll hang a picture or something to that effect. I've got literally a sheet of paper right now because I haven't had it laminated that says, I am worth it. It's nothing fast and fancy. Okay, that's all it says. But this is because it reminds me that that I am of value, something I did not see until only a little while ago. Quite by accident. Actually, it'd be probably about 10 years ago I figured it out. Okay. But here's the thing. I do not let in my home, if I let somebody into my home, okay, they're more than welcome to help themselves to food. Okay, if I've got food, if I've got coffee, they're more than welcome to help themselves or ask for it. It doesn't matter. If I've let you into my home, that's just the way my life has always been. I remember when I first got married, the first time that my father-in-law came over to our place, right, I asked him if he wanted a coffee, and he said, yeah, that'd be great. So I dug out a cup for him, pulled out the cream and sugar, set it on the counter, and said, there you go, help yourself. And I walked off to go and get the rest of the things organized. Well, my wife at the time looks at me and goes, you can't do that. I looked at her and I said, why? What did I do wrong? She goes, yeah, that's my father. I says, well, I know that. Well, you can't just get him to make his own coffee. I says, why? He's been around longer than I have. He knows how to. This way he makes it the way he desires it. Right? To me, I was doing the rational thing. I let you in the house. You desire a coffee. Here's the coffee. Here's the makings for it. Make your own. Okay, the pot's already on, so you don't even have to do that. Same thing applies. When somebody comes into my house, okay, I will treat them in the same fashion I desire to be treated. Now, I only follow 3 laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay, this is the way my life has always gone. As far back as I can remember, anyway. So, when people come in, they see that sign, I am worth it as well. They go into the kitchen, they'll see it in the kitchen, they'll see it in my office. Throughout my house, this is just the way it is. But that means I do not permit garbage coming into my house. I had a chap come through the door one day, didn't know him, just met him. First words out of his mouth, this place is a dump. I looked at him and I says, well, you don't like it, you know where the front door is. I talked to him 5 years later. Okay, same idea with the thought processes. Because the doorway, the front door to your house is it's your connection to the outside world. That's your interaction, that's your connection. There was another word I was looking for. But when I come across a thought line I do not like, I discarded out the front door. When I've got clutter in my house that I desire to get rid of. Like I was going through paperwork, okay, in my brain, in my office, that was from 2004. I don't require it, so it's gone. Okay, the thought processes, the way that I'm looking at things a little backwards, these are all part of the way your house and that your home works. Okay, the feeling of the place you're in. Now, don't kid yourself. If you run your own business, it's the same as running your own home. Okay, some homes they tell you you cannot wear shoes in my home. So you're allowed to wear shoes out in the rest of the community, but if your feeling in your home is do not wear shoes for whatever reason, doesn't matter what brought that reason about. If in your home it's not right to wear shoes, then guests must, by definition, take their shoes off. Okay, before they enter your home. I don't worry about shoes in my own home. Of course, I don't take my own shoes off my own home. Why should I make you? This is the issue around the home, the way it feels. Okay, and this applies to everyone. Does not matter what race you are, what gender, all the different differentiators don't amount to a thing for me. Okay, I treat people the way I desire to be treated. And I will tell you wholeheartedly, if I'm saying something that does not apply to you, that you don't feel applies to you, do not take it on. I'm dealing with striving to reach, if we look at just humans, about 7.6 billion people. And that's why I require your assistance to share this message, whether by electronic means or just by taking these ideas and sharing them with the world. Okay, because it's going to take all of us, well, most of us, to change the path that society is running. Okay, and with that in mind, thank you so much for joining me again. I will be back again tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.